that earmarks $5 million for an assessment of public defender services in rural areas, as well as providing new public defender services in those areas. So, we clearly anticipate most of that money is going to go to actually providing services in rural areas, with a little bit of it we think would go towards an assessment. And then we also got 6 additional FTEs were approved for us too. I want to scroll down a bit. So this chart here just kind of outlines a comparison of the current, the new appropriation that we got compared to our last biennium's appropriation. So you'll see for non-OLS cases, we got just under $19 million in additional funding. For OLS cases, we received just over 11 million more, for a total of just over $30 million more for the biennium. And if y'all didn't have any questions, this next page, we didn't think that we really needed to go into. This is more of our substantive bills. And so we're going to save that for tomorrow's full board meeting.
Great, thanks, Scott. So beginning on page 10, we have our regular budget update sheets that Sharon has provided. And I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this. This first page just kind of gives us the updated budget status for our previous fiscal year budgets. We still have some active grants out of those previous fiscal years. You can scroll down, Brianna. We've got updated revenue data from the Fair Defense account on the next page. And we'll go into this in more detail tomorrow, but as you can see, our revenue is continuing to recover. One thing, going back up to the legislative update that we wanted to cover, and we did add a note in our full board meeting book for tomorrow, but since we are talking about the legislative changes related to the budget, has to do with juror pay. And we've shared with the board that the jury service fee funding that we have historically received for TIDC's operations has not been available in the last couple of years of this biennium. And so the part of the legislature's changes in our funding scheme were to not rely on juror pay in the appropriations that they've provided. So while juror pay is still collected and a certain amount in excess of $10 million will still flow into the Fair Defense account, our budget no longer is based on that funding coming in or is relying on it. So if there is money available, it will still flow into the Fair Defense account, but it is not part of our appropriation. So I think this is a good development for TIDC because it provides us with greater stability and predictability about the funding that will in fact be available. So any questions about that before we move on? Okay, so this is just our current budget status. The page that's on the screen now, though, is something that I wanted to share with you all for discussion purposes. We're presenting a number of requests for grants. We want to make sure that you see that the funding is in fact available and that TIDC can well afford to say yes to the programs that the commission wants to make awards to. So the total revenue, as Scott just reviewed, for the 2024 fiscal year is just over 98 million. That's including OLS and our core appropriations. I've populated this discussion purposes budget with figures that would keep formula funding constant from the previous year, and that plugged in numbers if the commission makes awards for all the staff recommendations that were being presented today, and making several other assumptions about changes in the budget. For example, we did increase the TIDC administrative budget in this document to reflect that the legislature has provided 6 additional employees for TIDC. So that number is higher than it was in our previous, in our current budget. But if you take all of that spending into account, if you look to the bottom of this page, you'll see that it still leaves 9.7 million unspent. Of that money, about 3.4 million would be earmarked for the OLS defense program. We're still holding some funding back there, proposing to. And then an additional 6.4 million would be available for additional improvement grants, including some of the ones that we're going to recommend leaving pending today and revisiting in August. We just wanted to make sure that you all have this information so you could see that the recommendations are accommodated by our funding. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question. I probably know this, but you can remind me. The $240,000 for TIDC administration OLS, is that?
Right. So that funding covers, there's a very small portion of the funding that the Ledge provided to us for OLS that we use here at TIDC to cover staff salaries for 2 of our team members who are focused exclusively on OLS, and then their associated travel and other costs for their positions. And that's what that line is referring to. So that's Linda and Chris, our grant specialist, and Linda, of course, is on the OLS program is on the programmatic side. Chris is on the finance and monitoring grant side.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I think we can move back to our book and jump in. So we have on page 13 the slate of continuing grants that have either the scheduled awards or have very minor adjustments. Because a couple of these would require Judge Maderi to recuse, I would suggest we take this up toward the end of today's meeting in hopes that Justice Raddick will be able to join. So I think we can skip this for now without any objections and return to it a bit later. Is that okay? Okay, so let's continue on to the next page. So on this page, we just have this is page 14 of your grants and reporting book. Just have an overview of all the new grant applications for the regular program that we've received. We're recommending most of them today. There are a handful that we're going to suggest aren't quite ready and that we'd like to continue to work with the counties on and bring back to you in August. The total awards for the recommendations today would be just about $3.5 million. And we can just jump on into the overviews of each of those requests now.
So if I read that correctly when I was reviewing to go forward, we're not going forward on the, can you go back one page? We're going forward starting with Bear, but then Burnett is not on my list, correct?
That's right. We're suggesting to hold Burnett County.
Oh, I see
request.
it now. I see it now.
It's the second item there. So the ones that we're, a handful that we'll recommend leaving pending, and I'll mention one.
Okay. Yeah, let's start with Bear County then.
Okay. We go to the next page. So Bear County has provided submitted an application for what they've referred to as the non-citizen unit. Essentially, the program would add Padilla capacity to the Bear County Public Defender Office to address gaps in the representation of non-citizens facing criminal charges. The program proposes to add 2 new assistant public defenders, as well as an additional administrative support person who would be focused on representing non-citizens and would also be trained in Padilla matters. Bear County does have a dedicated Padilla attorney. However, the workload in that county is such that that person, that's not sufficient capacity to handle the workload of necessary Padilla advisors for clients in the Bear County PD and among the private bar. So the program also includes funding for a translator that would be available for assisting and communicating with clients, interviewing witnesses, reviewing and interpreting for video discovery, voluminous discovery materials these days that are coming through. If you scroll down a bit, we did run all of these, I should mention, through our grants and reporting, our external grant review committee. And we did get some positive feedback from the external reviewers on this program. They definitely believed that the program needed the additional resources in this space and were supportive. They did want to make sure that the interpretation that was being requested was specifically for defense purposes. And I've had several conversations with the Bear County PD, and they're clearly using this position for defense-specific purposes in the office. and it will add needed PDA capacity. So we do have a positive recommendation on this. We also do have Sarah May from the Bexar County Public Defender's Office that's in the Zoom waiting room in case you did have any questions for her. But we do have a recommendation.
I think she's in. Sarah, is that you from Bexar County?
Hello, yes.
Hi,
Sarah.
Sarah. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, does anybody have, hi, Sarah, my name is Missy Maderi. Does anybody have any questions for Sarah after reading this? All right, I think we're good, Sarah. Thank you very much. You want me to make a motion at this time, Edwin?
I think you could entertain a motion, yes, Judge.
All right, I guess I'll make it. It would be motion to award Bexar County FY 2024 improvement grant of $383,001 for a public defender's non-citizen unit for Padilla advisals. I'll make that motion. Do I have a second? I'm reading Judge Keller's lips. All right. There's a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Congratulations, Sarah. Do good work with it. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for being available, Sarah.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you very much. We can move on to the next one then. The next item is from Burnett County. The Burnett County North Hill Country Regional Public Defender Office is requesting the addition of a second mental health social worker to work as part of their public defender team. We did have some questions that cropped up in the course of the external review committee, and we'd just like to follow up and continue to work with the county on the job descriptions and just clarifying the particular role and making sure that it's squarely within the lane of the public defense function. I think it is, and I think we just wanted to make sure we have that clarification. So we plan to bring this back in August with a positive recommendation after we get those questions answered. If there are no questions, we'll just skip on to the next, but we're recommending to leave that pending for now. Next item is from Colorado County. It's a very small grant that's from the Colorado County Public Defender Office. This is a PD office that's very small, 2 attorneys that has actually predates the Fair Defense Act. So this is one that has been in place before TIDC. We haven't done a lot with this program in terms of grants. Actually, I could not find any grant history with them. They're asking for some technology upgrades. It's a 50-50 match that's proposed for the technology equipment that they asked for. The program explained that they're having a lot of tech challenges related to handling a lot of the discovery, again, a very voluminous discovery material that they're responsible for receiving and processing. A lot of it video that just needs modern technology equipment to keep up. They also said that they don't currently have portable equipment to take with them when they go meet clients who are in the jails or to take with them to courts. So they would be getting mobile equipment under this that would just make them more effective and efficient in the way that they can do their jobs. So we do recommend that the board approve this. We think that getting a grant in place will perhaps lead to additional collaboration between TIDC and the Colorado County PD, and we do have a recommendation for awarding that grant. I think based on our discussions, we want to recommend the full amount of $9,200. And I think if there are any questions, I'm happy to.
Anyone have any questions?
No, Judge Maderi, I just wanted to mention something I talked to Steph and I talked about earlier. This is unusual for us because we don't usually pay for equipment. I'm in favor of it though, because it's such a small amount and for various reasons, but I just wanted to point that out in case it comes up at the big meeting.
Okay. And do you think, I guess the next question to ask then, Judge Keller, would be, do you think we're opening Pandora's box if we do this for a small jurisdiction?
I don't.
I'm in for it as well.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that we might want to adopt some kind of guidelines that anything under 10,000 or something, some number we choose, we don't need to consider that as opening the door to buying equipment across the board when anybody wants it. Or we can just do that internally, actually. But I think this is small enough and it's a good idea. And
Okay.
I do think we bought the computers for the Dallas County PD's office early on. Wesley, do you remember?
Remember, there was,
Yes,
I think
we
that predated me.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a long time ago, but yes, I think so. And we do buy
Okay.
equipment when it's a new office, so to
It's a new office, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And
And
I
my,
think that Judge Whitley was the one who kind of put ended that as for existing offices. He didn't want to give it to Dallas, but we did. And then we didn't do it anymore for existing offices, but I think this is a good idea.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve it then. Motion to award Colorado County an FY 2024 award of $9,200 for technological equipment for the Public Defender's Office.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that passes.
and just so you all know, our advice when folks bring questions about technology is it needs to be part of some kind of a program. And here they did programatize the request to the extent that that mobile technology will positively impact representation by being able to review material in the jails, et cetera. So, but I appreciate the discussion on this. Thank you very much. I think we can move on to the next one. We have a grant request from Dallas County that we're recommending to leave pending at this time. It's from the Public Defender Office to expand their mental health division, particularly with some attorneys that would be focused on folks returning from competency restoration. We thought the program, we had a little more work to do with the county, and we weren't clear on whether the match had been sanctioned by the Commissioner's Court yet. So we're going to come back in August with this one and recommend leave it pending. Next request is from Grayson County for a managed assigned counsel program. The TIDC improvement team has worked with Grayson County and prepared a planning study for a managed assigned counsel office there. The application that's been presented is a fairly significantly scaled down version of the MAC as envisioned in the planning study TIDC provided. That said, I think that the program still provides a lot of opportunities for adding additional value and providing oversight and support for the panel attorneys. We do have with us today Judge James Henderson, who's the County Court at Law Judge in Grayson County, who can speak just very briefly on the request and the goals that they have for this program. Judge Henderson, would you like to take the floor?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Colfax. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm appearing from my office here in Sherman in Grayson County. Our proposal is to establish a MAC to operate an independent nonprofit corporation. The MAC would initially serve the indigent inmates and defendants here in Grayson County, but we have a very specific goal of trying to position it in a way that will expand to operate as a regional MAC office here in North Texas. Just to give you a little bit of background, year before last in 2021, our county received from the Judicial Commission on Mental Health a grant to establish a mental health diversion coordinator program. And we've really worked very hard on mental health diversion for the last year or two. As part of that process, one of the things that we did was try to identify other counties in the state that operated mental health diversion in a way that we wanted to try to emulate. And so we took a trip to Lubbock County and talked to the folks there in Lubbock County, had lunch with Judge Hawker. And one of the things that I was impressed with when I talked to Judge Hawker was how well their indigent defense attorneys were prepared, how they were educated about what needed to be done. And he explained to me about the Lubbock County Private Defender's Office. And probably the next 3 or 4 months, we were involved, and I was involved in just having a number of conversations with attorneys, judges, other people here in Grayson County about this idea of a private defender's office. We were originally kind of focused on, or I was kind of focused on, just the ability of an office like that to assist in mental health cases. And as we continue to have conversations, a lot of different conversations, I just kind of had this sense that there was this kind of general discontent overall with the way our indigent defense program overall was working here in Grayson County, both on the felony side and on the misdemeanor side. And it really, you know, it was almost like everybody that you talked to had a different viewpoint on it and kind of a different concern, but they all kind of fell within kind of the general the general things and ideas of what MACs are designed to do, provide better accountability, better quality, better efficiency. And eventually those conversations kind of led to the establishment of a steering committee, a more formal steering committee, and then some work groups that kind of helped us develop this grant application. And really, I think what I want to emphasize is, at least among the judges and the bar, we feel like we have a lot of good support and momentum for this program. Let me talk just very briefly about the structure that we have in mind. Mr. Colfax mentioned the planning study that was done on earlier this year in March. I think Mr. Ehlers worked on that, and primarily he's the one that I've been visiting with. The planning study recommended probably more positions than we felt like we needed. The planning study included a chief defender, an executive director, and 2 administrative and support people in the central office, as well as a case manager for the holistic division. Our grant application scales that down quite a bit. We are asking for just really one position that would serve both the chief defender and the executive director, and 1 support staff position. While we feel like the holistic division is certainly very important to the success of this program, we think we're going to be able, and what we hope to do, and after a lot of discussion have decided to liaison our current mental health diversion coordinator to kind of assist with mental health defendants. Our county has about 135,000 people in population. Although we are rapidly growing, we share a southern border with Collin County, and to our north is Oklahoma. And 2 rural counties sit on either side of us, Fannin County and Cook County. We have 3 district courts. We have 2 county courts at law. And I think it's very rare for a county our size to tackle a project like this. But one of the reasons that we felt like we wanted to kind of scale back the proposal from what was in the planning study really kind of falls into 2 areas really related to our demographics. I would say number 1, in looking at the ratios compared to other MACs, things such as the ratio, the number of indigent attorneys compared to the MAC staff, the number of cases per MAC staff, cost per population. Our ratios, because of our size, were way off compared to the other places where MACs exist. And so we wanted to try to get those more in line to what everybody else had. And I think if we are able to succeed and expand this throughout the region, those ratios will improve in the future. Secondly, we need to sell this to our commissioner's court. Now, I don't know that our commissioner's court is any more conservative when compared to other commissioner's courts when it comes to money, but they are very conservative when it comes to money. And as I mentioned in one of my letters, change does not always come easy to a county our size. And we feel like this is a very ambitious project for a county our size, with a goal of trying to establish something regionally that will allow indigent defendants to be served through a MAC compared to, you know, the way that we do it now and that most people do it now. I really like the idea of a MAC. I think it's the kind of the wave of the future. I know I've probably gone a little bit longer than my time allows. It's not easy to to kind of express all the work that we've done in such a short time. We do appreciate very much the assistance of TIDC in exploring this idea. Mr. Ellers and I have had a number of conversations about this over the last several months. We're looking forward to get started if we're fortunate enough to get this grant approved. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer them.
I just want to thank you for all your work on this because it looks great.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
like
Judge.
it too. So my only question is this, before, when we are approving at the big meeting that we have tomorrow, and I guess I'm asking either Scott or Edwin on this, do we have to have his commissioner's court approval before we approve this?
So we do, it is a requirement for the application to be fully officially submitted that the Commissioners Court resolution, the template Commissioners Court resolution is adopted. I think that what Judge Henderson is referring to is I guess related to budget workshops that are currently going on.
That's it.
I believe that though that we have the Commissioners Court resolution on this already. That's agreed to submit the application. I'm double checking. You want to
I was
speak to
going to
that?
say, Judge, we did submit this to the Commissioners Court. We have their approval to submit this application.
Yes.
Okay, thank
It's
you,
just,
Judge
It's not
Henderson.
always easy to predict what they're going to do.
Believe me, Judge Henderson, I understand. I just went through that with our Commissioners Court about a year and a half ago, and it is hard to bend at times, right? So thank you very much, and I concur with Judge Keller. Thank you for all your hard work. It looks great. At this time, I am going to make a motion to award Grayson County FY 2024 award of $381,366 for the North Texas Managed Assigned Counsel Program. May I have a second?
I second the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Judge Henderson, congratulations. It'll be voted on by the big board tomorrow. And so hopefully that will go through as well.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Judge. And thank
Judge
you all. I do want to make just one quick comment about, we did get some questions through our external grant review committee. They were supportive of this. They had some questions about how the mental health social worker that wasn't part of the defense team would plug in. And Scott and I have talked about this extensively and believe that with some grant conditions that address that question, we can clarify that issue sufficiently. So I just wanted to note that, but it wasn't, it did receive support. Okay, let's jump on to the next one. We have an application from Hale County, the thriving metropolis of Hale County. And we've got Judge Huckel from Hale County, who is just joining us. This is a rural regional public defender office that would serve 13 counties. We've been working with them closely. The improvement team here at TIDC has prepared a planning study, I believe actually several iterations, Scott, of a planning study up in this region. And we finally have really seen the stakeholders come together to come up with a comprehensive regional solution to the lack of attorneys in that area, and really a very positive proposal to improve representation. Judge Huckel, would you like to say a few words on behalf of the counties about what you're trying to accomplish here and the need?
Sure. Thank you. And thank you all for your time and consideration this afternoon. I hope it's clear in our application a couple of things. One, that the current model of assigning or appointing local private counsel is not sustainable in our region. Two, even though this is the first application, that grant application that we finally gotten submitted, Judge Phelan recognized and admitted that the current model is not going to continue to work, and he started working on this 4 or 5 years ago, and for various reasons, was never able to get it to this stage. But we were able, as Mr. Koufax mentioned, to jump through the hoops and get the stakeholders, county judges, county commissioners, courts, and all of those things to the same place. And And we recognize that, that the regional public defender's office probably doesn't fix all the problems that we have, and it may create some others that we don't anticipate. We expect that there's likely to be a while before we can get it fully staffed, but we do believe that it's what's going to happen for us to be able to provide appropriate and adequate defense for individuals who are indigent and accused of crimes in our region.
Thank you, Judge. Any questions for Judge Huckel? I neglected to mention that Judge Huckel is a district judge there in the region and has been working with us very closely on all this. Another point
Yes, I've had many conversations even before this grant year with Mr. Ellers. He's been very helpful and encouraging in this process.
And I do want to mention for the members that the service area for this program would overlap with some of the counties that the Caprock, Texas Tech Caprock Clinic currently provides some representation in. The Caprock PD has been a very important pipeline for bringing new attorneys to public defense work, which is sorely needed. As you all have been hearing today and in previous meetings, it's just really hard to find lawyers to fill these positions. So clearly this is a large program covering a big swath of Texas. There are plenty of cases to go around, and so we would fully anticipate working closely with Texas Tech, building partnerships between this new office and Texas Tech to enhance those pipelines of new attorneys who are getting exposure to public defense work. And for example, one of the things we were yes, please.
Judge Raddick is trying to get on, but she needs Doriana to send her the log-on information. Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Thank you,
Okay.
Judge Keller. Doriana, can you send that to Justice Raddick? So at any rate, I did want to just note that the service area does overlap, but we think there are lots of opportunities for collaboration between the Texas Tech program and this office. And the other thing I want to note is that because of our recent experience with particularly larger programs that TIDC has funded, we are proposing to award 50% of the full budget that was developed through the planning study process in the initial year, just knowing the timeline of staffing up. And what we don't want to do is tie up a lot of TIDC money that we're pretty sure won't get spent in this first year. But we would like to be able to bring this back to the commission if staff hiring proceeds more quickly than we anticipate. So we're just trying to be good stewards of managing the cash flow here by proposing a 50% funding with the full expectation and plan that in the second year we would be adopting the full budget as proposed.
All right, at this time, then I will make a motion to award Hale County. Am I on the right one? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, motion to award Hale County an FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant of $858,640 for the High Plains Regional Public Defender's Office.
I think that sounds great, and I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Looks like Judge Raddick is on now, so maybe we'll just take that vote on that one and then have Judge Raddick vote on the next one if we do that. So thank you, Judge Huckel, for joining us today.
Thank you all.
All
Thank you
right.
very much, Judge.
Bye.
Thank you, Judge.
And
All right.
welcome, Justice Raddick. I appreciate you signing on. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, Judge. Definitely.
So we will go on to the next item, which is a grant request from Hayes County. They're requesting an additional indigent defense coordinator. The county did approach us a couple of years ago that TIDC provided a grant some years ago, 4 years ago, to Hayes County to create an indigent defense coordinator position. It's been very successful in helping the courts to operate efficiently and make sure that defendants are properly screened and eligibility determinations are conducted in a timely manner, as well as appointments. The county is very rapidly growing. The workload for the Indigent Defense Office is such that they do need another position. couple of years ago, they were looking at it, but decided they could still continue to make do with one. At this point, the county has decided, no, it is clear we need another position. So we do have a recommendation for a grant to fund an additional position down there in Hayes for an IDC, and we have motion.
All right, I will make a motion to award Hayes County an FY 2024 improvement grant for $61,913 for an additional indigent defense coordinator.
Second motion.
All right, thank you, Judge Keller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Judge Raddick, can you hear us? Is she?
I didn't know it was muted. There's a whole nother setup now. I don't know where mute and unmute is. That's okay.
It's okay. Are you registering your vote as a aye or a?
I'm a yes.
All right, then that motion passes for Hayes County. All right, Edwin?
Thank you, judges. We can go on to the next item in the grants and reporting meeting book, which is Potter County. This is one we're recommending to leave pending at this time. We believe that, so TIDC funded a joint public defender and manager assigned counsel program in Potter County 2 years in FY23. It's gotten up and running. It's been very successful. There's a lot of interest in surrounding counties to take this program regional. We've been working closely with the chief public defender, Jason Howell, to do some outreach with counties on this, but it still needs a little more work. So what we'd like to do is come back in August after we nail down some budget and participating counties questions that remain open at this time. So we would leave this pending and come back in August, fully expecting to have a recommendation.
Great.
Any questions? Okay, I think we can move on. Next item is from Victoria County. I should note that we have Victoria County Judge Ben Zeller joining the Zoom. We've been working closely with Judge Zeller for several years now to explore the possibility of a regional public defender in his part of the state. The TIDC improvement team has conducted a planning study and has been working closely with the counties in the region. The program as presented would be a four county office. It would be operated as a department of Victoria County. In other words, the positions would be a county department as opposed to, say, a nonprofit model. And the regional program would be defined through interlocal agreements with the other three counties to provide services. As I said, we've been working with them a long time. We think that this is going to be a very positive development for the region. So we do have a positive staff recommendation for it. Similar to the High Plains office that we spoke about a few minutes ago, we are recommending that the initial award be based on 50% of the full budget that we think is a more realistic number in terms of the challenges hiring, staffing up, getting the office up and running. And again, we don't want to unnecessarily tie up TIDC funds in that initial year that we think are probably not going to get spent. But we do think that the full budget should be approved and that we should have the full plan to scale up to that full budget in the second year. We also think that we should be able to come back to you at a subsequent TIDC board meeting if hiring is proceeding at a more rapid rate than we
Can you
anticipate.
bring my purse to me so I can get my glasses out of it, or just bring me those glasses?
And so I think that we have positive recommendations. So Judge Zeller, if I could just hand you the floor to speak a little bit about your goals for this program.
Sure. Thanks so much, Edwin. Appreciate all of y'all's time today. Edwin is right in saying that this has been an effort that's been several years in the making now. We're very excited here in Victoria County to have this on your agenda and to be pursuing this with three of our neighboring counties, all of whom are seeing the same thing that we are in Victoria, an ever diminishing wheel of attorneys available for our defendants, a desire of our district judges, especially to improve efficiency. We see this as a way to have a more predictable budget. So we're very much on board with this. Our stakeholders are on board. All of our commissioners' courts have turned in unanimous letters of support for this. So we're eager to get this started. We are looking at a facility to house the personnel right downtown next to our courthouse. So this is a need that's been a longstanding need, and we're very excited to have this possibility in front of us. And I really do appreciate all of y'all's work, the staff there especially, who's put in a lot of hours on our planning study, answering our questions. But it's led to this point. We're excited about it and we're raring to go. So thank you all very much. We're very appreciative of this opportunity.
Thank you, Judge. Any questions for Judge Zeller?
I don't have any questions for him. Thank you, Judge, for coming in. Sounds like it's a great program. At this time, I am going to make a motion. I'm on 8, right? Motion to award Victoria County FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant of $1,418,568 for the Coastal Plains Regional Public Defender's Office.
Second the motion.
All right, thank you, Judge Keller. All in favor, say aye. Aye. I can read Judge Raddick's lips and she's saying yes, or she's saying aye. There you go. You're still on mute, Judge Raddick. All right, that passes. Thank you very much, Judge Zeller, for coming in. We appreciate it. And the big board will meet tomorrow and for final approval. Okay, but you've got our approval for right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Judge Zeller. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Judge Madera. I just wanted to make a very quick observation that is in the summary here that a couple of these counties currently are get sustainability funding under the TRLA Regional Public Defender Program. So some of this would actually be offset by a couple of current sustainability grants, and it would just be kind of reorganizing with under the Victoria County umbrella. Those two counties, Refugio and Lavaca, believe that they would be better served under this model, and I think are enthusiastic. So I just wanted to note that. Okay, I think we can move on to the next one. Okay, Wichita County, we have a grant request for a public defender mental health division from the Wichita County Public Defender Office. As you all know, in recent budget cycles, the legislature has provided TIDC with $5 million dedicated specifically for public indigent defense programs serving defendants with mental health issues. So obviously, this would be one of the ways that we could deploy those funds. And they do have a mental health social worker at the Wichita office, but they'd like to basically scale up the program to have a dedicated unit within the office by adding some staff. Excuse me. We think Wichita has been a very good partner with us. We've provided several, excuse me, grant programs to them in recent years, and they've proven very effective. So we've got positive feedback on this one as well from our external grant review committee. And we have a staff recommendation to make the award for the Public Defender Mental Health Division of the Wichita County PD. So I believe we have a motion.
Yeah, anybody have any questions? All right, I'll make a motion to award Wichita County FY 2024 improvement grant of $182,941 for Public Defender's Mental Health Division.
Second the motion.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi,
Aye.
can
All
you
right.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Thank you, Justice.
Thank you, Doriana.
Okay, the next item is a little bit different. So we've been covering new grant requests. The next grant request was actually to fund the continuation of a program that we have been funding since 2019, and that is called the My Padilla Remote Advisal Program. Originally, TIDC awarded a grant to Hays County for this project, and Hays County had a nonprofit organization that had developed this web-based technology-based program for Padilla Advisals. And so we gave the grant to Hays County. Hays County contracted with that nonprofit to implement the program. The reason that we did it that way was because TIDC, up until this current biennium, did not have authority to give grants directly to nonprofit organizations. So we had to kind of work through a county, even though it was sort of bureaucratically complicated, and that's the way we had to do it. Beginning in this biennium, TIDC did get statutory authority to be able to make grants directly to nonprofit entities. And really, this is one of the places where it makes a lot of sense to streamline the administration of the funding. So what we have here, Hays County has in recent years been contracting with the Capital Area Private Defender Service. That's the Managed Assigned Counsel program that serves Travis County. A couple of years ago, they brought the My Padilla program into their organization as a new home for it. And so they are requesting a grant to continue the program through the next fiscal year. This is something that TIDC is fully funded because the program operates providing services throughout the state. Any county and any indigent defense attorney, whether it be in a public defender office or private assigned counsel, is able to contact them, provide basic information about the case in order to get some advice on the immigration-related collateral consequences of a plea. So I think it's a good program that we definitely want to continue to fund, and I think this will streamline everything. And so we do have a recommendation to fund the program through FY24 with a grant directly to the Capital Area Private Defender Service, and I believe they have a motion.
All right, a motion to award the Capital Area Private Defender Service on FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant of $153,173 or 073 for the continuation of statewide My Padilla program.
Judge, I have a question. We talked about this yesterday or the day before a little bit with staff, and I'm in favor of this. But it looks like the need for, or people are not using the My Padilla program as much as they could be.
Right.
But we just approved a grant for Bexar County to expand their My Padilla part of their program. Can this program help with Bexar County in the interim?
So that's a great question. So yes, the short answer is yes. One of the things that we've been doing with regarding Padilla is we originally put forward the My Padilla program as a way to help rural counties who didn't have the critical mass of cases to support having a dedicated Padilla resource in the county. So the kind of preferred model was that the larger urban areas clearly had that critical mass of cases, and they would have dedicated Padilla resources. And a number of the big counties do. So for example, Dallas County we has for a long time had a dedicated Padilla attorney that's serving the public defender and private counsel. Harris County has resources in their program. Travis County has resources in their program. And this was to fill in the gaps between the big urbans. So certainly could be of assistance as Bexar County. Bexar County does have a Padilla attorney, but as we've discussed today regarding their application, it does need additional capacity, and I think they certainly could use it. So we will make sure to connect those two organizations to talk about how they can be a bridge, perhaps.
Great. Well, I second the motion.
Okay.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Thank you, judges. We have one more new grant request, and then we'll move to the continuing grant increase requests. So the last one on deck is the Lubbock Area Private Defender Office. This is a grant for the full 2024-2025 biennium. So we're talking about a 2-year period. As we reviewed at the beginning of the meeting, the legislature has appropriated $41 million approximately to TIDC for 2024 and 2025 to continue the OLS, the Operation Lone Star Defense function. And since 2022, TIDC has been working with the Lubbock Area Private Defender Office to serve as the indigent defense hub for Operation Lone Star Defense. They are a managed assigned counsel program that, as their name suggests, is based in Lubbock. They are the Lubbock MAC. And they have the kind of infrastructure and processes and skills for making appointments, managing wheels, and handling a large volume of cases that they step forward to serve in this OLS function. They contract with a couple of nonprofit public defender organizations to provide OLS representation. in addition to managing a growing panel of private attorneys to meet the needs which are growing for covering the defense, the constitutionally required indigent defense of defendants in state court. The request for the next biennium is 37 points, as you can see, 37.7 million approximately. The vast majority of this money goes to paying for the representation. So we're talking about contracts with those public defender organizations like TRLA, MDS. We're talking about operating new public defender offices in the border region, and also covering the costs of the vouchers from the private attorneys who have joined the OLS panel. So that's the vast majority of this money. There is a organizational restructuring that is being proposed for the next biennium. It's actually being worked on actively, I should say. The Lubbock Area Private Defender Program has, the board of that organization has asked that the OLS operation basically be kind of sawed off and turned into its own entity. So they want to have a separate or corporate identity for this very large program that has turned out to dwarf the original Lubbock County MAC that was the LPDO was set up to be. There are obvious reasons for that. I think it makes a lot of sense. So the LPDO has been working to basically divide off their OLS operation from LPDO and set up a separate entity that would have distinct finances and a distinct board, but would basically continue the existing operation into the next biennium. We've been working closely with them. That process is still that is still in process. So what's being proposed today is to make an award to LPDO at this time. We think it's important to have the funding in place for planning and recruitment so that organizations can say with confidence that the grant is in place, the funding is in place for next biennium, and they can begin to hire and plan for that. But that we would come back to the board, this board, in August with a recommendation to transfer the grant from LPDO to the spin-off entity, if you will. So that is our staff recommendation. We are, as you can see, holding back several $1 million from the state appropriation for OLS defense. In addition to that, we are also going to be carrying forward about at least $7 million from the current biennium's OLS specific appropriation. So we are keeping some funding in reserves, but we do think it's valuable to have an award in place that will give everyone involved the ability to plan and move forward. So with that, I'm happy to take questions. Also, I want to point out that our team member, Bill Cox, who's been very involved in working with LPDO is here and can take questions. Of course, Scott, please jump in and add anything that would be.
Any questions? No questions? Okay. Make a motion to award the Lubbock Private Defender's Office, LPDO, 37,681,149 to continue to serve as a regional indigent defense hub for Operation Lone Star.
Send that to me.
Wow. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second. It's 37 million.
I'm sorry. You know what? My glasses are all screwed up, so I'm having a hard time reading numbers. 37 million.
Right.
You're right. And there was a second on that.
I second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Y'all, we can move on next to the grant budget modification requests. So among our continuing grants, we did have a handful of programs that were seeking additional funding. They're summarized in the table that's on the screen now, and I believe is on page, this is page 27 of your grants and reporting meeting materials. And then we also provided an appendix with some of the additional information provided for each of these. So I'll just take them up one by one quickly. Cameron County is requested, TIDC awarded a grant to Cameron County for their juvenile public defender program to develop a mental health unit. They're in their second year right now of that program. They have had very much difficulty recruiting. And I will say that the salaries that were in place were quite low. And so they've asked to change the juvenile defender position from 65,000 to 70,000, and that just affects the grant. Where we are in the grant cycle, it would augment the grant by $2,500. Strongly recommend this. We in fact advise them that it's probably needs to go higher in order for them to fill these positions, but that's where the county was able to go at this point. So we do have a motion regarding the Cameron County grant that would increase the award for next year by $2,500 over their schedule.
So Judge Keller, this is Cameron County, so I'm abstaining from this. So if you can call that.
Okay, I will move. I don't have the motions in front of me.
It's number 12. Edwin, can you read that for us?
I'd be happy. The motion would be to award a continuing FY 2024 improvement grant to Cameron County of $127,650 for the juvenile public defender mental health unit.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Please show Judge Maderi not participating.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. We can go on next to Medina County. So Medina is the host county for the Hill Country Regional Public Defender Office. They are requesting an additional $71,508 over their current funding. Most of that is related to their desire to secure office space in Kendall County. They currently operate an office in Medina County and an office in Kerr County. The program has had significant challenges recruiting, particularly for folks that would be based in the Kerrville office. Their best opportunity for recruitment is the San Antonio metro area, and they believe that by opening an office in Bernie, which is in Kendall County, and more of a bedroom community, San Antonio, that they will be able to be much more effective in recruiting and filling positions. So that does increase their rental costs for the program, and that's the majority of the increase there that you see. And then there are other miscellaneous operational cost expenses that are very typical. We do have a representative from the Hill Country office. If there are questions that you may have, but otherwise we'll just leave it. We do have a motion if you would like. That is motion number 13.
Edwin, I believe Judge Maderi stepped away for 2 seconds and we'll be right back.
Very good. If I think I can just continue on to the next one, and then we can circle back, do you think?
Let's give her a second.
Okay. We can. In the meantime, if the members have questions, we could bring in a representative from the Hill Country office to do it. They call this standing at ease in the legislature. So I guess we're standing at ease. We have to remind ourselves that our members all have day jobs that provide their attention, and we do appreciate your patience and engagement.
Oh, Judge Maderi is worth waiting for.
And just coming off of the big trial, which I'm sure is challenging and time consuming. So just for the benefit of the members here, I had mentioned at the beginning, Justice Raddick, that we have our slate of continuing grants that we're going to circle back to at the end of our meeting today. The vote on that would be the slate of continuing grants that don't have substantial budget changes. Right now, these are the ones that had some substantial budget changes that we need to take action on. So we're close to wrapping after we work through these.
I'm here for the long haul.
Appreciate you joining. Well, I would, I'm not sure if Judge Majeri may be a while. One thing we could do, if members would like, is take up the regular continuing grant slate. We have the quorum sufficient to do that. Would the members like to do that or wait? I'm entirely happy with.
I'm game. Whatever you want to do.
Sure.
Okay, well, why don't we circle back, Brianna, to the page that has the continuing slate of regular scheduled awards without increases and take care of that bit of business. So this is on page 13 of your grants and reporting committee book. And again, with the exception of the two items that have very minor budget changes that I noted for your consideration, all of these basically continue current funding levels or scheduled funding levels. Some of them are stepped down grants. Judge Maderi. So we will, Judge Maderi, we're just taking up the regular continuing grant slate. These are the ones that didn't have substantial changes in their budgets. And we can, our motion that is prepared would adopt these as a slate. I do know that Judge Maderi, you would be recusing on several of these. I believe the Nueces one, of course. And Leslie, help me out on which one.
Star.
And Star, I think there's one more, right?
Not in this particular batch, but yes, later on.
Then Edwin, will you want to read the motion and then I'll recuse off of Nueces and Star? Or abstain, I guess, not recuse.
I'd be happy. So we have, it's motion number 2 in the motion sheet, which is to recommend award of the 2024 continuing grants according to the schedule on page 13 of the meeting notebook.
I
Okay.
will make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I vote aye, except I'm abstaining from Nueces and what was the other one, Wesley? Starr County. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, judges. We can go down back to where we were, please, Brianna. Here.
Yeah, Victoria is not with me, Scott.
Okay, thanks, Judge.
And that recusal just has to do with your judicial region for anyone wondering.
Right, gotcha.
Okay, so we're coming back to the continuing grants that did have substantial changes in their budget. We've taken up Cameron already. We've laid out Medina. I believe we haven't yet voted on Medina. Am I right? Okay, so the Medina County program is just asking for an increase about 3% or $71,508 over their current level of funding, and that's related to their office space needs and their that would be changing in order to secure office space in Kendall. And that would be, we do have a motion. I'm happy to answer questions, but we do have a motion, which
Is that number 13 that just moves it up that with that money to the 2,446,511?
that's correct.
Okay,
Yes, motion number 13.
Okay, I'll make a motion to award continuing FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant to Medina County of $2,446,511 for the Hill County Regional Public Defender's Office.
That's the Hill Country Regional Public Defender Office, just clarification. Hill County not involved in
Oh,
this
I'm sorry,
particular
Hill Country. I don't know why I'm reading these things. I can't see.
Easy
I'm going to be
mistake to make.
awarding grants to everyone that I don't even know. Okay.
I don't want Hill County to get too excited about $2 million.
Right. Sorry, Hill County, if you're listening.
We will, Hill County, we're open for business. We're ready to work.
Really.
Motion. Thank you. Okay. So
All in favor. I think we've got a first and a second, and then all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Okay. Thank you, members. We can move to the next one, which is from Culberson County. You'll see that this one is larger in percentage terms, not necessarily, but the Culberson County is the host county for the Far West Texas Regional Public Defender Office. This is a program that we began funding in 2017. It serves 5 counties that are just to the east of El Paso: Culberson, Hudspeth, Presidio, Jeff Davis, and Brewster. And this program has been a huge game changer in this region of the state. There was a very significant lack of attorneys to handle cases in those courts. The courts struggled to move their dockets because of the inability to find representation. But it's been a very successful and positive program. The increase is driven by several factors, as I've summarized here. They do need additional capacity. And there's, I think, no question that their workload is such that the addition of 2 attorneys and 1 additional support staff position is warranted. So that's a big part of what's driving the increase in the cost for this program. The other thing is related to salary adjustments that really stem from recruitment challenges. They've had an open position for a very long time. I think it was posted at 100 and then 105 and was unable to be filled for a felony attorney. So they are proposing some significant changes in their salary structure to be able to address the need to recruit and retain. We do have a representative from the program. We may have more than one. Doriana, do we have several? Or
We do. We have Judge Curtis Evans, Mr. James McDermott, Judge Greg P. Hennington, and Hudspeth County Judge.
So let me just ask the members if you'd like to hear from the program. We have not only the chief public defender, but a number of the county judges in the region available to talk about the request and answer questions. And I defer to you all about. We'd be happy to bring them in if you have questions or would like to discuss it in more detail.
Does anybody want to hear from them, or do we, I mean, is there any questions that anyone has? Anyone is against this thing, or should we, I mean, we can just let them in and then vote?
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions.
Then let's do this, Edwin. Let's bring them in and then I'll tell them we don't have any questions and then we'll do the motion.
Very well. Doriana, if you can let them in. So we'll have James McDermott is the chief public defender for the Far West Texas Regional Program. Judge Hennington is the county judge in Brewster County. I'll just introduce them as they pop in. We have the Hudspeth County judge, the Jeff Davis County judge, Presidio County judge, I believe, maybe not.
All right, I see Judge Curtis Evans. I don't see him personally, but I see he's connected to audio. I have James McDermott waiting on Judge Hennington and Judge Evans.
I think they're in and just have their cameras on.
Okay. All right. Well, if y'all can hear me, then that's great. My name is Miss Maderi. Welcome. We just kind of chatted about this briefly, and Justice Raddick and Chief Justice Keller and we don't really have any questions for you. And so at this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a motion to award continuing FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant to Culberson County of $858,565 for the Far West Texas Regional Public Defender. Do I have a second?
Second the motion.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, the ayes have it. All right, y'all, we will bring it to TIDC tomorrow for our big board for the board meeting. But you have our recommendation to the big board. So we'll probably see you on here tomorrow, okay?
Thanks.
All right,
Thank you
guys.
all for being
Thank you.
available.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Okay, I think we can move down to the next request, which is from Tom Green County. This is for the Concho Valley Regional Public Defender Office. That program covers 7 counties in the area around San Angelo. The program is requesting an increase in the budget that you see there on the screen and on the last page of our meeting book. The current budget did include, let me back up a little bit. The budget for the current year included the addition of a couple of new positions that were approved at our December meeting. This is related to expanding this program to the Big Country region, Taylor County region. We authorized that grant with ARPA funds, if you'll recall. Tom Green County is basically going to expand their service area using the ARPA funds grant that we awarded. At that time, we did add some positions to this program so that they would not lose any capacity. This grant, basically, part of the reason it's going up is because it contains a full year's worth of salary for those positions that we approved in December. The program also is anticipating, they're like most counties at this stage of the year, they're in budget workshops. And the county is currently anticipating an increase in health costs, in addition to planning around a 6% cost of living adjustment. That would be across the board countywide, as well as 2% merit increase budget for department heads. Those things are wending their way through the Commissioner's Court budget planning process, but they have been direct. All county departments have been directed to plan with those numbers in mind. And so that's the nature of the Tom Green request. We do have, if the members have questions, we do have the chief defender from the Tom Green, or rather the Concho Valley Public Defender in waiting room, if you'd like to bring them for questions, or we can just move on. Whatever you're just.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I don't have any either.
In that instance, we do have a motion, which is number
15.
15.
Motion to award a continuing FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant to Tom Green County of $1,715,557 for the Concho Valley Regional Public Defender's Office.
Second the motion.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Thank you all. The next 3 items are Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid contracted public defenders. As you know, we've come to the board several times with adjustments related to the TRLA projects. We've been working closely with TRALA particularly in the last couple of years to do a better job of budget planning. And part of the outcome of that process was that rather than holding off on communicating the need for budget changes to the counties and to us, that our recommendation to them was track closely actual costs, keep the counties looped in, and keep TIDC looped in on an annual basis. And so that's part of what you see here for B, Goliad, and Willacy counties. So each of the programs is requesting an increase in their overall program budget as reflected on the page. TIDC's reviewed these, the staff have reviewed these budgets and believe that they're reasonable and justified. So we do have a staff recommendation on behalf of them. We do have the chief defender of the TRALA PD program, Kimberly Simmons, available if you do have questions. If not, can move forward.
I don't have any questions, but are we voting for B, Goliad, Willacy all together?
We have separate motions for each of them.
Okay.
So you want me to read them separately then, Edwin?
I think I defer to you, Judge. I think if Wesley, is it parliamentary procedure wise okay to
I
put them all?
think it would be. I mean, we've done slates before, even in this meeting. So if you wanted to just accumulate the three of them, I think that'd be okay, given the committee's.
All right, so you want me to combine 16, 17, and 18?
I think you could.
Okay. You're going to make this very difficult for my eyeballs. All right.
Would you like me to read them, Judge? I'm happy to read them for you.
Yeah, go ahead, Edwin, go ahead.
Okay, we would entertain a motion for to award an FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant to B County of $944,370 for the TRLA Regional Public Defender, as well as a motion to award a continuing 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant to Goliad County of $160,285 for the TRLA Regional Defender, and a motion to award the continuing 2024 Sustainability Grant to Willacy County for $295,416 for the TRLA Regional Public.
All right, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
What?
Aye.
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 And Judge Maderi, would you be abstaining from that vote as to Willacy?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you very much, Wesley. I'm gonna say aye and aye to B County and to Goliad, and I'm gonna abstain from Willacy.
Then I'll make the motion as to Willacy County.
Thank you.
Is there a
And I'll
second?
second it as to Willacy.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it passes too.
Very well. Thank you all. I'm sorry I didn't remind you on that one, Judge Maderi, but I think we cleared it up, so that's great. Last item here is a request from Burnett County, the North Hill Country Regional Public Defender Office, not to be confused with the Hill Country one we took up earlier. This is based in Burnett. They're requesting a 4% increase that amounts to about $41,940. And this is basically a similar situation to the Tom Green one, where the county is in budget workshops. They're anticipating this year a cost of living adjustment. This is a countywide kind of budget issue for Burnett County of up to 8%. That's still being worked through the county workshops. And insurance cost increase is estimated at 5%. They did note in their request that other operational costs had been reduced from their current budget, which offset some of the proposed increases, but it is a net increase overall of about 4%. And we do have a motion on that as well.
All right, motion to award a continuing FY 2024 Sustainability Improvement Grant to Burnett County of $1,100,517 for the North Hill Country Regional Public Defender.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, 19 passes.
Thank you all. I believe that gets us through our GNR agenda, and this is 224 on this. Any other questions or discussion items that I would like to take up?
I wanted to mention one thing, to Judge Maderi and Judge Raddick. On the Far West Texas application for more money, it involved raises for the staff. And as you'll remember, this came up before. We don't want to dig into the details, but we don't really know how to decide whether raises are a good idea or not. So Scott suggested getting a work group together to come up with a master plan and look at different options. And I'm going to recommend that tomorrow, if y'all think that's a good idea. Okay.
I'm good with that, Judge. Thank you.
Okay. Right. See if anybody wants to be on it besides me. That's all I had.
Well, thank you all. I think that gets us through our business today. Thank you all very much for your attention to all of this and your patience with us and engagement and support. And I think we're finished for the day. I'll let Judge Maderi gavel us out.
Okay, I'm gaveling us out. And let's go